Dark clouds. Dark clouds take 2. All right. Since, I've had a hell of a past, right? My first memory are pretty much red and blue lights and suicide. Was never given an option. So, with the development of this plan, I need a few resources in order to do this, because you know what? I'm not going to steal or sell drugs or do any of this other stupid shit. The funny part is when social services and welfare are, have these things brought to their attention, they actually say it's no joke. It's no joke when you actually are on these services. Why? Because they got no choice. Some people are getting off of drugs, or they're, poverty. They can barely get food. They don't even have shelter. Yada, 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 yada. The basics of this resourcing system, that's what they actually accommodate. They're not made for you to get ahead. So now that I've been on it, I'm kind of starting to see the protocols and everything else in play. But in order to get off and still be here for my kids because they need me, I came up with a few ideas. That includes having to actually bite the bullet and ask for a donation of some kind, because I'm not going to I don't want people doing this for the sake of money. I'm doing this for the sake of my kids and anybody else that wants to do this. Why? Because I believe that their lives are not worth $1 value. They mean more. They are precious. They are irreplaceable. So, in order to do this and travel and see people and go to other places to do this, dark cloud enterprises, we're going to need that. Yeah. On top of that, we're going to need something like a projector, television. Yeah. Cool. And with that, since I'm going to be doing presentations in front of a lot of people, I'm going to need a screen to do it. Yeah, so that's where this comes into play. Yeah. And on top of that, we're going to need a drone. Why? Because if you want to learn to fly like an eagle, let's give people the vision of flying like an eagle. I can't get in an airplane and I can't lift off just the ground, but I can attach a camera to certain things, because that's how viral videos go. They are able to take the place of a bird and give you the digital feedback to, in order to give you that effect. So, there's your drone. And then we're going to need a computer of some sort in order to, play all these videos and do whatever we need to do. So, all this stuff is in play. So, coming up with all this paperwork in order to, meet the needs and do what we need to do to, be what's that word? Productive and progressive. So, and then when I'm looking at stuff online, such as, what's this thing say? 7 teachings. They actually missed one. There's no courage on here. There should be 8. But, I don't want to bash things right now. And the reason I'm doing this is because, oh my God, suicide versus kindness, patience, and love. Suicide, kindness, patience, and love. Yes. Yes, Diane Belrose did that for me. Ooh, and then by doing so, something similar was able to be done. Oh my Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Yes. And guess what? If I always say I had no father, there is a father. You see this man at the bottom? There's Ayasua, Kisek, and John with Mushum and Kirkham. Eddie Belrose. There's my father. Yeah. Here's my beautiful kids. So, looking online and wanting to empower the youth, I gotta become a youth again and think like them, because my childhood didn't look that great. No, you got a little boy lost in a foster system. Yeah, but that's okay. I survived, yes, barely, but at the same time, developed a few things. Why? Because of my childhood. But that's okay. Love it. Love it. Love it all. What are these guys? Okay. For that one. So, I'm going to read you guys what the government puts on the internet for CASP. Your CASP. Yes, it's government funded. The purpose and function. The Canadian Association for Suicide Prevention was incorporated in 1985 by a group of professionals who saw the need to provide information and resources to the communities to reduce the suicide rate and minimize harmful consequences of suicidal behavior. So it wasn't the act of suicide doing the damage, it was the behaviors. And then the actual actions and outcomes of certain people's behaviors causing the trauma. Ooh. So is this prevention or awareness? I'm pretty sure it's just awareness, because you can't really prevent suicide unless, of course, you make the person know that they are actually being suicidal tendencies is real. But when you act on them and it becomes the actual result or the action, actually suicide, it's incorporated. So with that being said, do you treat it like a false alarm, or is this an actual just a cry for help? Who knows? No one can, because it's so pitter patter and who knows when, what, where, and how. But for me, because I was a victim and a survivor, I think that every call for help should be answered, no matter how small or how big. But that's just me, because, what do I know? So with this CASP, this is what I created. So I got this programming. It's probably about 20 pages. And it actually is based on what the government wants to see in an awareness and prevention program. So I took that upon myself to make copies of it. And, I'm going to base some of this stuff upon that. The one thing about awareness and everything is once you actually acknowledge that somebody has these tendencies or behaviors, you got to change it up. You got to give them another direction, but not base it on such a traumatic experience. So you lessen it. You give them something to do. Yeah. If it's not schoolwork, it's going to be something else. And so what I know is, if you give somebody a feeling of need, their hopelessness goes away. So once you start getting somebody to feel that they're needed somewhere, you can actually go further. And that's where all this stuff comes into play, because even for my kid, the lack of needing is needed. They need to feel needed. They need to feel wanted. They need to feel, and I'm not talking just for their body, their money, their this, their that, anything else. They need to feel needed as an individual. So since every child and adult and everyone else with these tendencies are having that absence of this feeling, I'm going to fill it for them. And I'm going to do it with media therapy. Developing music videos, and not even just music, just stories. I'm going to go back to where it's like Mr. Dress Up. I'm going to do stuff with puppets instead of digital photography. Why? Because I'm not a digital master of those arts yet. I don't believe in technology having to be that, because if for me to go to a place and if there was no power, I could do a puppet show that's just as good as actually using somebody's cell phone or internet access point. Some places there won't be internet, so a puppet for me works, but I'm developing that right now. The only thing is who do I actually propose this to so I can get funding or some kind of bursary or grant, because right now my credit is shot and everything else. So now I got to go ahead and do something more. based on because that's what I've been working on. I've been developing this whole time, and now that I tried to set it in place, I might have just had a monkey wrench thrown into it. So I'm going to tell everybody where I'm headed. So if everyone thought I was full of shit and not capable of doing anything positive than just Facebooking it, I was practicing. Now this is the real deal. This is what I was going to do at the very beginning, but Kwahlahi, reason for living, became something else. People don't even want to see it. But if I told you it saved one person's life, would you want to take part then? Hi, hi.